LearningConnects. We're very pleased to have another live conversation with you all, which happens and falls under our communication campaign for the month of November, which is focusing on the topic of networks and partnerships for change. Today, we are discussing about the role of networks in advancing lifelong learning in EU neighboring countries. And on this occasion, we'll also present the ETF initiatives, which are aiming at promoting networks for the internationalization of education. And most importantly, we will discuss how all of you, if you're interested, can be involved. As I flagged for this month, this is the spotlight which we put under our communication activities. And indeed, we do think at the ETF that promoting international cooperation across countries, also by means of interinstitutional partnerships, is at the core of our action. And developing continuously new partnership networks, but also and most importantly, promoting partnership as a methodology is the natural evolution of fruitful collaboration and is one of the key ETF's objectives. But now let's go straight to the conversation. And I'd like to introduce the distinguished guest speakers that kindly accepted to be with us today. First, welcome to Ozlem Kalkan, research and education expert from the Ministry of National Education in Turkey. Thank you for being with us, Ozlem.
Thank you too. Hello, everybody. We would like to have a nice conversation with you all and share our experiences about that in a network. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ozlem. I'd like to welcome, ladies first, of course, Manuela Prina, Head of Skills Identification and Development Unit at the European Training Foundation. Welcome, Manuela.
Thank you, Daria, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and thanks a lot, and thank you for the waiting, to Vitaly Kopnov, Project Manager from the Russian State Vocational Pedagogical University. Thank you for being with us, Vitaly.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be with you, and I'm ready to answer any of your questions and to be engaged in any discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a million. And now a big welcome to all of you who are following this conversation on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Facebook. Please do let us know where you are from. Say hi. We really want to have a feeling of wherever you are located on the globe. I would like also to invite you to send comments and questions, because as you know, in these live conversations, there's plenty of space for you to share your input and to ask for a feedback to the speakers, which are here precisely to satisfy all your curiosities and needs for further information. So let's go straight to the business with the first speaker. I'd like to start the conversation, to break the ice. Manuela. Manuela, can you please share with us and with the whole community why you think networks are essential to create better lifelong learning systems, and how does this apply also to the action that we as the European Training Foundation are undertaking in countries neighboring the European Union? Over to you, Manuela.
Thanks, Daria. I will just say a few words of introduction, because I think that if each of us and each of our people who are listening to the conversation today think about networks, we know the answer. In fact, networks is about how people actually get together and communicate, but also how they work together, either to learn from each other or to solve a problem together or to give a voice to ideas together. So I would say there is nothing amazing about networks, if not that they are actually a way through which professional and human interactions are actually being formed. And so in our experience, as in our social experience as humanity, networks have always been part of our story. So what is new? Why are we talking about networks today with such a passion and such a big investment also from our side in promoting them as a method of work, not only as part of the ETF strategy, but also as part of building lifelong learning systems? I think there are two important points. The first is the fact that we have the opportunity to really get together with people and professionals from literally a very global dimension. So our ability to network has expanded a lot. And this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for exchange, is an opportunity for learning, is an opportunity for co-creation and working together in solving a problem, addressing an issue, finding a good practice, or simply building up an idea. The second point is that we know that through networks, and in particular through the interaction with peers, both with peers that, for example, share our own professional area of work. So teachers working with teachers or entrepreneurs working with entrepreneurs, but also across different professions and different fields of work. So working together across different groups of stakeholders, we can better address the complexity of today's world. Now, we know that one of the complexity that has really raised its level in those years, and I think the pandemic has left this message with all of us, is learning. So learning, we are maybe in a learning crisis, or maybe we are in a new learning era. We are in the era of diversity, but for sure, whatever you call this era, you have to deal with complexity. And how you break through complexity is working with others and making sure that good ideas find interlocutors and partners you work with. So this is why network is not only about, our human interactions. That is, of course, the basis of how we like to actually work and also interact, but it's part of the solution, and it's part of a method of work that helps us to deal with complexity and to bring solutions quickly to stakeholders and beneficiaries. And that's it. Over to you, Daria.
Thank you very much, Manuela, also for framing this conversation in the current days, which are absolutely putting learning at the center of all reflections, and networks do make a change. I'd like to remind also that this series of live discussions was created, LearningConnects, precisely during the first wave of the pandemic, and it was a way to get connected and keep on exchanging despite the difficulties, and we are glad that it's continuing. Before we continue the conversation, I'd like to quickly go through the kind messages that we are receiving from you all who are following. Actually, the geographic scope is expanding. We have a follower who's saying hi from Pakistan. We have Parveen from India. We have Mahmoud from Egypt. We have Joel from Bangladesh. We have Ngo from Kiev in Ukraine. Thank you so much for being with us. Keep on letting us know where you are connected. But we've introduced the role of networks in current days, and we'd like to see the perspective of a member of one of the ETF networks. So I'd like to give the floor to Ozlem, because Ozlem, you are a member of ENE, the ETF network for the Centers of Vocational Excellence. Can you please let our followers know what is this network about from your perspective, seen with your eyes, and why your organization decided to become part of it. Over to you, Ozlem.
Okay, thank you very much for this nice question, because it is the core of the idea that why we are in the vocational and technical education, and we are in the network. That's why I would like to share the ideas of the Minister of National Education and also the university side too, because I also work for a university in Central Anatolia. So I think ETF network for excellency of vocational education centers is it is an international network. As far as I know, it's the first one that geographically and internationally for the first one in Turkey that we have such a network that we are included in. So it is also just covering the EU neighborhood countries. And as far as today, I mean, as far as I know, until now, we have, I mean, in the network, we have 150 centers of vocational education, centers of vocational excellence centers, and it is almost 10 EU countries and also 15 ETF partner countries and 6 African countries. These are the information I got until, I mean, it's updated one. So while my institution, both Ministry of National Education and the university that I work in, the Central Anatolia NEVU, is becoming a part of it, is decided to be a part of it, is just, it's a kind of lifelong learning, actually. We see that those networks as a kind of way that we use in an informal and non-formal ways of interacting with each other, because when you are stuck with the bureaucracy and when you are stuck with the papers and everything, so the digital world is much more faster for all of us. I mean, for all of the ministry workers and also the universities. So this is one of the reasons, and also the other reason is it is, as I told you before, I mean, as I told in my first sentence, it is the first time that we include that we are in a network of vocational centers of excellence. So vocational education and technical education and vocational education in Turkey is a kind of, maybe it's my idea, but maybe needs another ministry. So, I mean, it's a huge work done until now, and also the lifelong patterns are also included in the vocational education. So that network will make us, will make our work to be visible into the global world. I mean, not only to the European countries, but also to the neighborhood countries and to the near territories. So this was the first idea came up. So and also it's a kind of lifelong learning process. We see it, digital networks, we see it as a lifelong learning process and learning from each other, because some of the countries we met that is learning from us as Turkey, and some of them we met and we are learning from them, because many countries, many centers have different different specialization issues and topics in their own work. So it is really important for us, for Ministry of National Education and for the universities, that to learn from each other and to show our work visible to the global world. That's the main idea underlying.
Thank you very much, Ozlem, and we also appreciate that you know the network so well, to the point of knowing also how far it's distributed among the EU, the neighboring countries, and also the African countries, because the idea is precisely that. But Manuela will tell more in the next phase of this conversation. We'll come back to you, Ozlem, on your being part, your organization being part of the network. I'd like to go back to our kind followers who are saying big highs. From we have Lina from Palestine. We have, I'm sorry, I cannot read the Georgian alphabet. A kind follower from Georgia. We have Albina from Albania. We have hello from Taliala from Israel, and Gohan from Ankara in Turkey. We also have the few questions coming, one of which is precisely about how to be involved. And I already announced, don't leave this conversation, because later Manuela will explain how you can become part of and apply to become part of some of the ETF networks. Now, Vitaly, my question is very similar to the one I've addressed to Ozlem, because you are also a member of one of the ETF networks, more specifically the ETF community of innovative educators. So what is this community about? Again, seeing with your eyes and with your own words, and why have you decided to become part of it? Vitaly, over to you. You're muted, Vitaly, I think.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. Again, I'm happy to not to see, but to see on my message box. I'm from Russia, and my university is busy with education of vocational teachers and trainers. So we are engaged in improvement of vocational education training all over the Russia. So this is a very interesting point from my view of my job, and that is why I am on the open space on the of the European Training Foundation. And when I try to cross borders with social media, previously I used several Facebook groups. I have accounts on Instagram, Telegram, LinkedIn, everywhere. So my usual morning I start my usual morning from screening all these networks, and it's not easy task, dear friends. And I'm happy that from this summer I was engaged in the community of innovative educators. This is the place where we can find each other. And I studied all my followers, all my group members. I told you I managed several groups, and I studied all them, inviting to this community of innovative educators. Because just there we can find, as Manuela told us, to find a solution to our complex problem in learning. Because this learning really becomes more and more complex. Just today, we have a conversation on the within our community of innovative educators. This was a battle webinar about soft skills. We try to understand why soft skills and how hard skills are separated. And the first idea was that we divide these skills due to the source of these skills from formal and informal learning. Then we went to the thought that this division of these skills went through Russian history, that our education consisted from education and upbringing. These were two basic parts of our education: training and upbringing. But with the help of our friends from European Union, from Professor Urs Hauenstein, with the help of Julian Stanley, we came to the decision that all our skills are holistic. And where, dear friends, where can I find this very brief, very emotional, very mental solution that we came to this decision? Only on the platform of open space within our community of innovative educators. So this is my basic answer why I use this community. So we can find their friends, we can find their ideas, we can find discussion, we can find their teachers. And today I got good ideas, not only from my friends from European Union, but from my Russian partners who were engaged in this conversation as speakers. One of them was a professor from a formal university, and another lady was a neuro coach. She is representative of informal learning. So a lot of interesting things we discussed. So this is my understanding, and this is my explanation to you why everybody should be engaged in discussion on the open space community of educators.
Thank you very much, Vitaly, for your enthusiastic words and also for having shared some recent activities of the community you decided to become a member of. We'll go back to you soon. I see that there are a number of friends who are following from all over the world who are raising their interest. Today, Ozlem and Vitaly are representative as members of the ENE network and of the community of innovative educators, but the ETF is coordinating several initiatives with the aim of promoting networks for internationalizing lifelong learning. The ETF network for Centers of Vocational Excellence, the Community of Innovative Educators, but also the Skills Lab Network and the Quality Assurance Forum. Manuela, now the floor is yours for presenting in a nutshell the peculiarity of each network, including the ones we have members of today, and what is the rationale behind the creation of each of these networks. Thank you, Manu.
Okay, I'll try to give a very brief overview. First, explaining a couple of points on the rationale. So that to be clear, let's say, on what is behind the formation of a network. To do so, let's think about, let's say, three different groups that we see in terms of how our networks are formed. There is a first group of networks that is bringing together individuals that share an interest and a commitment, a passion, or a question regarding a specific topic. And this is the example of the community of innovative educators. So it doesn't matter what kind of education, and if you are a trainer, a teacher, an educator, if you work in secondary, in higher education, in non-formal, in informal, what matters is that you have a commitment, a passion, a question about innovation in teaching and learning. And this is how the different educators come together in the community from not only partner countries, but also the EU and the rest of the world. So it's a very open community where at the center of attention there is a specific topic, which is innovation in teaching and learning. Then we have a group of networks that is targeting organizations. This is the example of the ENE, of the ETF network of Centers of Vocational Excellence. If you are not a Center of Vocational Excellence, you cannot join this network. So there is actually let's say a barrier at the entrance saying, are you a Center of Vocational Excellence? And do you actually commit that those principles of excellence are those that you actually want to target as a provider of vocational training? Here again, it's a network where similar organizations that share a commitment to excellence come together and then decide to work on specific issues that are common challenges or common areas where they want to invest in terms of innovation, in terms of development, in terms of joint work. So, for example, under the ENE network, we have a number of what we call sub-initiatives that target different issues. For example, public-private partnership, work-based learning, greening in that, social inclusion, entrepreneurship, different and digitalization are some of those different priorities that centers of excellence agree that are areas where they want to work together, and a certain work program is formed. Similarly, we have, for example, the Skills Lab network that brings together research organizations, think tank that have a specific interest and focus of work, which is skills anticipation and matching. This is a network where priority is given to share practices, methodologies, and work together also on research questions targeting skills anticipation and matching, in particular looking at the labor market demands. Finally, a third group of networks is what we say target institutions, and this is the Quality Assurance Forum. So it's actually networks that bring together a very limited number in terms of persons, but persons that represent a specific institution which is in charge of that specific function in the governance of a country. In this case, is institutions that are in charge of quality assurance. And this, again, it's an area of peer learning and of joint work and of problem solving that it's extremely important to support a very delicate function, I would say, as we look at vocational education, but also at lifelong learning in particular. For the future, we will also expand, let's say, the formalization of some of the networks that we work with in our partner countries and beyond across those lines, trying really to make sure that activities and access to those opportunities in terms of working together, peer learning, and also knowledge exchange will be formalized in our work program.
Thank you very much, Manuela, for your very clear presentation. So I think that those of you who started expressing an interest as regards how to join some of the ETF networks, you already had a very clear overview on whether you can spontaneously apply, on whether you belong to you would be able to belong to the right network for you. I thank my colleagues who are supporting from the technical side for sharing in the various chats the link to our website on a page in which you can find a short recap for each of these networks, which Manuela has just presented. And please keep on following the ETF for the whole of this week, because we will be presenting even more in detail on our website each of the network. For example, today we have just published a web story about the Quality Assurance Forum, and you're most welcome to come. I see that there are more people joining live. We have Ali from Morocco, Joel from Bangladesh. We have 2 questions coming. I will keep them in the conversation at a later stage, so don't leave us. And I go back to Ozlem in Turkey, a member of the ENE network, because ENE aims at fostering technical cooperation relations at the international level through the inclusion of a variety of actors in different countries. Could you share, Ozlem, with us some initiatives which were made possible thanks to your participation in the network? Because these are part of the concrete outcomes.
Thank you, Daria. Yes, thank you very much. So this is a very comprehensive question that after we are in the part of the network, I may say that we had many contacts with different sectors, from different actors, from the private companies and from the universities, from the educational institutions, and also from the centers of excellency, of course. And they had really different variety of implementation areas, focus areas. So this was I guess since this 2021 May, I had almost engaged with 6 or 7 meetings, even in the summertime, with the networks organizations. So it was very helpful for us as a member that to share our information, to share our technical provides and technical provisions, and to share our experience with other countries about vocational and technical education. So I may say that we also met Entrepreneurship Network of Tunisia, which had happened today, actually, in the morning session. So we had another meeting, I was there. And Entrepreneurship Network of Morocco. So it was very interesting because Morocco had a long way with the entrepreneurial learning and entrepreneurial centers of vocational technical education. So we had contacts with private companies, which is really hard sometimes for the ministries, for educational institutions that trying to get in contact with your own initiatives, own correspondence with emails, with telephone, by phones, but it's easier within this network. We had contacts with Spain, a network again in Spain, and Vocational Excellency Center in Finland too. And also we can also say the initiative, I can call it easily an initiative that we had planned Erasmus Plus strategic partnership project for 2022. Because it's getting closer, the dates are getting closer, and vocational and technical education needs really special attention, I guess, even from the European Commission too, because the budget of the vocational and technical education has been increased almost 20% when we compare it within the last period of Erasmus project time. So also we had Greening Threats Initiative and Social Inclusion Initiative. We are taking part in those subgroups of the vocational and technical education excellency. And for the Greening Threats, we are also working, ministries and universities are also working with the UNESCO and working with the national commissions of the Sustainable Development Goals of United Nations. So we had made a connection between Greening Threat and those with the climate change, which Turkey had recently signed the Paris Agreement, as far as I can just inform our audience. So this is also very important about the Greening Threat, because when you make your curriculum available and adaptable to greening forms of education, when you just teach your students, it's easier. It's easier that you have many students. We have 18 million of students. You can have students going on in their business life with a lot of knowledge about greening. Right? I think this is one of our priorities, just like the European Commission had and Sustainable Development Goals had, like United Nations. So many interactions, many connections, which that network had us available and easier to reach, really.
Thank you very much, Ozlem. From May onwards, it seems already a number of fronts which are open, and it would be very interesting to catch up in a year from now, and then in 2 years from now, to see how all fronts have been evolving. Thank you for flagging 2 of the main strands of action of the NN network, which precisely are green and entrepreneurship. And indeed, this morning there was the launch of a special initiative with our friends of Centre d'apprentissage, formation et d'apprentissage de Bizerte in Tunisia. I see that Mufida, who is following us from Tunisia, is asking about contacts in the country. Mufida, we do have a country managers within the ETF, but if you're more interested about the NNet network specifically, I kindly ask my colleagues who are following the technical part if they can share the link to access straight the page of the NN network so that you can get more information also as regards how to access. And Mufida, I also encourage you and all followers to join the open space platform, because that's precisely where you can meet people in the first and easiest way. Vitaly,
Yes.
We've heard the perspective of Turkey on the NN Network for Excellence. We go back to Russia on the community for innovative educators, the scope of which is to get in touch, as you said earlier, with one another, as well as to know the latest trends in teaching innovation and design thinking, so to enhance the professional capabilities and ameliorate the learning style. So we are now very curious to know if there is anything you have learned or anything you have shared through this community.
It's a very interesting question, because for me, as I found out during this half a year from the summer, I found that what I have learned is equal to what I have shared through our community of educators. So this is, I'd like to underline this thing, that when I prepare post or event announcement, it's like a little article. When previously I used Facebook or other social media networks, it was my announcement and my posts were simpler. And now I should prepare, and I understand that my future readers will be well educated. They will have good ideas. They could help me. So I must prepare a good text. And when I prepare a good text, I should insert pictures, schemes, something new. And for instance, for last 2 months, I prepared, I think, to my mind, and I have received positive feedback from my readers. I prepared a post about transdisciplinarity. I heard words about work-based learning from Ozlem, about entrepreneurship. I'm fond of teaching entrepreneurship and the work-based learning environment. So, and this is my focus last time. And I prepared a post about connection of work-based learning with the emergence of transdisciplinarity. And this is just the similar issue to our main theme of our today's discussion. Because transdisciplinarity, it is a tool that crosses borders between disciplines, as just we do now. And very interesting, when we cross borders of disciplines in transdisciplinarity, we can take different methods from one discipline to another discipline. And moreover, we can include and involve in our discussion and understanding non-academic environment. So, and all this came to me, all these ideas came to me through my preparing my blog post on the open space. So this is one case. Another thing, I was thinking about personalized learning path. It was another idea. How to express the idea of personalized learning? Mm-hmm. And I went to not my childhood, but to my youth when I was a student of university. And I remember that just there, I started to use my own scheme of personalized learning. And I wrote a post about this, and you can read it now. It's very interesting about how Soviet students 40 years ago could create his own learning pathways in the Soviet Union, where everybody should walk in a line. It was the period of communism in Russia, and I found my own way. So this is very interesting, and this is my understanding the emergence of this personalization, and what the conclusion I came when I developed this idea. The basic to create just for me my own personalized learning path was the mutual trust between me and my teachers. If we couldn't find this trust, it would be impossible for me to make my personalized learning. So, this is very simple answer, Daria, to your question. What I have learned and what I have shared. So this is the same, and I got a very good feedback, new ideas, discussion, and I think that these two basic things about work-based learning and transdisciplinarity and personalized learning will be in my focus during at least 1 year, 2 years, because 8 years ago I was engaged in education of entrepreneurship training, entrepreneurship. Now I'm more interesting. I'm mostly engaged in work-based learning and other pedagogical issues. How to make this gap between industry and vocational education make it shorter, and to prepare our students from the hot oven.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ready to work immediately when they come to a workplace. So this is what I think about, and I think that we can develop new ideas within our community.
Thank you, Vitaly. So if those of you who are following are interested about discussing further with Vitaly and with the community of innovative educators, my colleagues have shared in the chats of all social media platforms a link to know more about the community of innovative educators. Thank you, Vitaly, and thank you, Ozlem, for having shared concrete achievements or ongoing works which give a flavor of what happened concretely in these networks. Before going to the last circle of questions, round of questions, I'd like to take the question of Mahmoud, who is asking, and I think I'd like to address this to Manuela. Is there a specific role for the civil society to play in these efforts, or is it being supported in any way? Manuela.
Absolutely yes, is the answer. Actually, last year we engaged in a specific work, also looking more in depth in the role of civil society in the context of lifelong learning systems. And you will find also information on the ETF website with also several reports that have been published. But what is very important is that civil society organizations are really welcome to join in the various networks. So if you're part of a civil society organization working in particular on on teaching and learning, and you have an interest in innovation, and we see, for example, a lot of interest in particular on adult education those days, you are welcome to join in the network. The networks are not open only to government officials. Some of those networks, absolutely yes, but as part also of networks such as, for example, the Quality Assurance Forum, I can assure you that there is a lot of discussion in terms of how civil society is an important pillar of the quality assurance process that is in place in partner countries. So these are key points that are important for us.
Thank you very much, Manuela, and also thanks a lot to Mahmoud for his question. Should you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to add and ask. So we're approaching the end of this conversation. So first, there's a question which is the same for Ozlem and for Vitaly. It's like a pitch on behalf of the networks you belong to. If can they ask you if it would be possible for you to make an invite to our followers? Why it would be great for them to join you, respectively, in the NN network and the community of innovative educators. So, ladies first, Ozlem.
Thank you very much, Daria. So yes, I would like to invite our followers right at the moment who is watching this video and who is watching this online streaming. So if you want to be in a professional environment, I don't want to mean that everything is professional in the network. I mean, there are still some room to move. There are still some things to learn from each other, but the people's minds are professional about vocational and technical education. So please come there just to find your counterparts and just to find maybe project partners for your ideas and to get funded by the European Commission. So maybe you can just make your center much more innovative and much more technologically donated in the future within this network, through this network. So I may say that first, you want to be in the professional environment. Second, technological and new innovative methods to be learned from each other. And also you might be invited about your professional area, or you can just have your ministry, or I mean your corporate or your university to be represented in another country. For example, now we are just joining an event in Finland about that network. So something like this, I can say. It's a kind of fully live, 24 hours, 7 days, fully live with this network, with the web page dedicated to only for this NN network. So you can just have your partners online anytime, from India, from Turkey, from other African countries. And also you can find different partners, different project ideas from different countries, because it is not only the European Union countries, it is about the neighborhood countries of the ETF. So this I can say, join, and I think the network will welcome you, even if you are not in a very progressed way, but it is the idea in mind that you are having a mind that to be progressed. So there are lots of contributions from you and from other members of the network. So I can say this, and also for the innovative community of the educators, I may say that it's a kind of individual activity. I mean, if you are a principal, if you are an educator, if you are a teacher, or if you, also this innovative educators community is open to all kinds of teachers. I mean, branch teachers, vocational teachers, and teachers of different subjects. So you may just join the community, and you may share your own experience. And also, I think in the future time, as far as I know from the meetings going on, in the future, near future time, there will be some kind of how can I say, some kind of idea sharing within the new technologies of the innovative educators, which they use in their classroom. So it is nice to make your work visible globally, and you may be local, but think global. This is an idea on my side, I can say.
Thank you very much, Ozlem, for your invite. And Vitaly, since Ozlem flagged also the community of innovative educators, do you endorse her statement? What do you have to add for our friends following live as regards why they should be joining you and Ozlem in the community?
Yes, thank you, Daria, thank you, Ozlem. for promoting our community of educators. And again, I will start my answer with the history. I started the promotion different ideas in qualifications 5 years ago, and 5 years ago I entered to qualification platform of ETF, and it was my interest in developing national qualification framework. And lately, 5 years ago now, I'm mostly engaged in discussion of work-based learning, transdisciplinarity, hard and soft skill, most in pedagogy. And what is very interesting that now open space of the ETF, it has a very beautiful view and very good functions for communications. And what I found there also that there are sub-communities. And of course, I can meet there on this open space my friends from qualification. I see my friends from lifelong learning. And now I'm in the sub-community of innovative educators. So when you are inside education and when you are rather long in this area of your life interest, it's evident that you can change your focus from one theme to another theme. And what I see now that on the open space, there are a lot of sub-communities where you can find your partners, your friends, and to discuss everything, and to find and even to find friends. So this is great. This is great. I'm very grateful to you, to the European Training Foundation, for maintaining such a very big community, not only of innovative educators, but community of open spacers. I know that there is a title even, open spacers. Yes.
Yeah, to be proudly said.
Yes. So,
thank you, Vitaly. Yeah. Sorry, you wanted to add something?
No. My last. I'd like to finalize my speech. That switching from one group to another, you will find your friends anytime, in any way, in any area of educational science. So this is a very good thing, open space of ETF and our innovative educators community. So
thank you, Vitaly. Thank you for your points, and I'm sure that you've been very convincing. At least we hope so.
yes.
I'd like to go to the practicalities, because this is precisely what emerged in some of the questions. I saw Joel, who asked whether there were any activities in Bangladesh, and then a bit earlier there was Lina asking, I think from Lina, I think is from Palestine, how can we contact you directly to discuss with you the qualifications, and how can we be part of the exchange with different internationals? Which leads me to the last question, which is precisely for Manuela, and it's very relevant to the followers. So e-practice, how can our followers be involved in each network, and where can they find the information on how to apply for becoming an active member? Over to you, Manuela, for the closing of this conversation.
Thanks, Daria. I would also like to thank Ozlem and Vitaly for their feedback and their encouragement. I think, sometimes also from inside the organization, we tend always to put the emphasis on what we can do better. But it's really great to know that there is really a value and a good use of those networks, that even if they are young, they are already producing many opportunities. So I would like really to thank you. How to to get connected to the networks. Well, we have named several times open space. Open space is our entry point into actually looking at the ETF networks, but also to get connected to the various practice areas. Now, today we have nominated a few networks that are, let's say, formalized, but the ETF work is based on networks connected to the different practice areas, and in open space they are all reflected. So through your expression of interest in terms of what kind of practice areas you want to be more connected to, this is the space where we really try to make these networks grow around the different practice domains. Open space is also the entry point, in particular for the community of innovative educators and the Skills Lab. The Skills Lab was launched only a couple of weeks ago, so there will be soon be a dedicated space on open space. For the ETF Network of Excellence and the Quality Assurance Forum, that where I said, you know, the, let's say, requirements are a bit different in terms of being a center of excellence and, of course, committing to the excellence principles that, of course, we share with the European Commission. It's important that we have a web page where all modalities to send in the application to join the network are explained. And you can, of course, send an email of interest to the NN Network account that it's on this web page, and the team will get back to you with all the information. As regards the Quality Assurance Network, again, there is a dedicated space in open space where you see also the activities of the network. There, as I said, to join in, it's important that you are the authority dealing with quality assurance, or you have a role in the quality assurance process. So it's a network that targets a specific group of stakeholders, but we would appreciate and we welcome that you actually make others aware of those opportunities, because this, we think it's a very good added value also to have a diversified group of stakeholders on open space that can see the activities of the different networks despite the different groups of stakeholders that they involve. So open space as a first entry point, the web page of the ETF, and of course you are welcome also to contact us directly so that we can connect you to the right person in ETF who is following the different activities.
Thank you very much, Manuela, and we hope that we have answered your questions and created an interest and a curiosity for you to go on the digital tools Manuela has just flagged to know more about the formalized ETF networks and to know more in general about the activities which we do and which could be of your interest. We are 1 hour sharp from the beginning of our conversation, so I'd like to thank the kind guests that have dedicated 1 hour of their time for discussing with us and with you about lifelong learning and how making it more international. And so thanks to Ozlem Kalkan, research and education expert from the Ministry of National Education in Turkey. Thank you, Ozlem.
Thank you too, Daria. It was really nice to share my opinions about the network, NN Network, and I call it shortly NN Network. I know that there is network in it, but I can't just say it NN. So NN Network, and just if I can just little bit inspired the participants to join the network, I'll be very happy. Thank you.
For sure you did. Thank you so much, Ozlem, and good luck with all the cooperation which are being developing in these days since May onwards. Thanks to Manuela Prina, Head of Skills Identification and Development Unit at the European Training Foundation. Thank you very much.
Thanks to you, and thanks to all our audience for following. We see each other on Open Space.
Absolutely. And thanks a lot as well to Vitaly Kopnov, project manager from the Russian State Vocational Pedagogical University. Thanks a lot, Vitaly.
Thank you, dear friends. I will be happy to see you on the Open Space and in our community of educators, innovative educators. And there is a question about how to enhance open educational resources. Please join our community, and there is a subgroup about digitalization area in education, so we may discuss and we find the answer how to enhance open education resources. Please join us.
Thank you very much, Vitaly, and to use the nice words which Vitaly just said, dear friends, following from wherever you are all over the globe, thank you for having been with us for this hour of sharing. We look forward to seeing you again, not only on the ETF website, the social media platforms and Open Space, but also next week on Thursday at 9 a.m. Central European Time for another LearningConnects conversation, which we will do with the Asian Development Bank. And we are sure that will raise a lot of interest. So we look forward to having you with us again next week. Thanks a lot once again, and have a good continuation of the day wherever you are.